Welcome back. As you know, I'm Eli, the computer guy, here for the Daily Blob as we talk about why I, as a not boomer, can't hack it in the modern world of technology. I guess you all are right. The trolls out there are right. I am just a snarky has-been that can't deal with the modern world of technology. Does that mean I don't understand artificial intelligence? No, I get the point. Does that mean I can't get my head around quantum computers? No, that's actually relatively simple too from a technical aspect. Does it mean I just will never embrace blockchain? Well, yeah, that is true. I just really don't care about blockchain. But that is not why I can't hack it in the modern world of technology. I can't hack it in the modern world of technology because, oh my God, technology employees have gone bat crap insane. Give me a server room any day of the week. Tell me to rack 2,000 servers and configure them, and I might be tired, I might be cracked up on coffee, but I can do it. Tell me to deal with these self-entitled jackasses that are running around making six-figure salaries, doing everything in the world other than actually shipping a product. And I will lose my mind. So that's right, boys and girls. I am no longer a modern technology professional because I believe in a concept called shipping the effing product. Now, before we get into this, let me be very clear here. If you want to protest, by golly, go out there and protest. If you want to help fund political movements, by golly, you go out there and fund political movements. If you want your job to fundamentally change the world, by golly, you go out there and you get a job with an organization that's changing the world, or you create an organization that's changing the world. I am all for that. The issue that I have is in this modern world where we have people that want to make six-figure salaries working for technology companies, and then once they start working for those technologies, with the six-figure salaries, with the benefits, with everything that goes along with it, then they want to start being self-entitled little brats telling what the company needs to do. Right? You need to fire this customer. You need to fire that customer. You should never take these kinds of contracts. But I should still keep getting my paycheck every week. And as I sit here and as I scream, as I belittle you, as I denigrate you, as I cause real and actual harm to this organization, you should know I'm still on the clock and I expect my check and my benefits. That is the issue that I see with a lot of these folks. And so this is how we get into that whole macro force thing as far as the economics is concerned, and how this you deal with this as a technology professional. Again, I've been talking about this for a while, that we had the disaster in 2008, the economic recession, the Great Recession. And again, that's not over. The recession's over. The consequences of a recession still are not over. We are not in a good economy. We weren't in a good economy with Biden. We weren't in a good economy with Trump. We weren't in a good economy with Obama, to be clear. We've been in a bad economy for a long time. One of the issues with this idiotic economy, again, is 1% interest rates. Basically, rich people know how to deal with money, so they borrow money at 1%. They then dump it into things, expecting a higher rate of return, and then they take the spread on that, essentially. They make money by taking money from here and putting money over there, and then they just profit. Right? And so they've been driving a lot of money into the tech world because the idea there is, hey, if you invest in the next Facebook or Google or whatever else, you borrow at 1%, your rate of return is 500%. You make a metric crap ton of money for not doing a lot. The issue is, again, with these companies, they didn't have profit, they didn't have revenue, they didn't have growth. They had to prove that they're successful, so they start hiring people. Again, you should invest in us because we're growing. You can tell we're growing because we're hiring people. bad metric to go by. Anyways, but people went with it. And so they were hiring, and this destroyed the company culture, the corporate culture, and I would say the entire industry culture, right? Because so many people were hired not because they brought ROI, not because they were visionaries, not because they cared about this field, but because they were an ass. The company had a seat that needed an ass went in seat. The problem is, you hire people to be asses in seats, they're going to get bored, they're going to start doing other things. Oh, hell is going to break loose. That's one of the issues that we see nowadays is, again, in the tech world, we have a lot of people, again, that believe that they should be able to protest and argue and again, damage the company all at the same time. They are getting their paychecks and their benefits, and then they're surprised when they get punished. One of the things that you need to be thinking about, again, especially as a technology decision maker, is how the hell you're going to deal with this kind of mess. And that's where we get to stories like this. Again, from CNBC. Oh, it just puts a smile on my face for all the wrong reasons. You're right. Eli, you can't hang as a technology professional in the modern world. Oh, boys and girls, you are correct. Not for the reason you think. Microsoft employees say emails with Gaza, Palestine, or genocide won't send. Wow! Are you serious? Oh my golly, right? I remember back in the days when we first started putting in word filters or whatever for the email servers, right? The Exchange server, you could add plugins. To stop your employees from saying stupid crap on the company email system, right? So you would put in swear words. Because that was the thing. Everybody gets onto email and they start saying stupid crap on email. You're like, stop saying that in the corporate environment. So you put these keyword filters in, and all of a sudden people start crying because they can't say fuck. How dare you? You're a fascist. You won't let me say shit in the email. Love of God. You can say crap. You can say diarrhea. You can say a lot of things. It's just, again, especially in the modern world with archival systems, so especially if you're at a publicly traded company, all your emails get archived. There's archiving systems on the back end. Whatever you think you deleted didn't actually get deleted. There's archiving systems on the back end, and your emails sit in those archiving systems for fucking ever. Again, I think legally for publicly traded companies, they have to stick around for maybe like 10 years or something like that. But, from a actual standpoint, they're just going to sit there forever. And so again, you have the executives, the board members like, all of these email messages are now going to exist forever. Let's clean that up a little bit, right? So we go through and we'd add things like, these keyword filters or whatever else. Oh my God, and people would cry. Like, for the love of God, freedom of speech. Like, what are you talking about? Just don't fucking swear in your goddamn emails. Every time I walk by your cube, call me a worthless piece of shit. That's fine. Just don't say it in the email. If you're gonna call me a stinky piece of shit, say it to my face. Seriously. Don't say it in the email. Anyway, so we put those keyword filters in. Oh, God, all kinds of idiocy. One of the things I've been talking about for a while in this whole modern world of technology is what is modern risk? What does modern risk look like, right? So again, back in the old days, back in the 90s, when I got into the professional world, we really didn't have email. You had fax machines and that type of thing. And so, again, don't have nudie pictures or whatever. That was about it. But then as you go along, it's like, okay, well, maybe we need to put these swear word keyword filters in to email systems to keep people from swearing. Right? Again, that was kind of considered a risk. But then as you move along, then there's a whole question of, again, what happens when people just say stupid things? Again, whatever the CEO wants, whatever the board wants, you then have employees. Employees do what employees do. And so again, that's where you look at like things that say like keyword filters is, do you want particular words ever used in your company? Ever. Is there ever a reason to use the N-word in your company? Probably not, unless you're a rap company. Anyways, right? And so basically start putting those things in because again, like initially there wasn't these archiving processes and all that, so people really weren't worried. And then we start having these archiving processes, so it's like legally going into the future. What if somebody has a lawsuit or whatever? We want to make sure the language is clean. And then as we go forward, again, especially after George Floyd and all that kind of stuff, what about like racial stuff and all that kind of stuff? Like, is that a risk to the company? Again, from a technology standpoint, not only do you have to be worried about hackers compromising your company, or even employees compromising your company, but then also things like lawsuits. Right? How can you design your systems, again, in such a way to protect your company? I talk about that when I went through executive protection training years ago in a galaxy far, far away. Anyways, again, back in the military, paramilitary days, one of the things, training things I went through is like bodyguard, what's called executive protection work. And the curious thing is they really hammered in our head the whole idea of that you want to protect your principal to the point that nobody realizes anything happened or they forget what happened. Right, so one of the big things with like bodyguards, all of that, like, yeah, I'm a man, right? Alpha dogs, while you probably don't want an alpha dog in your protective service, is, right? So let's say somebody comes up and is a little stupid to your principal, right? Your principal is doing whatever they're doing, and somebody comes up, they get a little handsy, they get a little stupid, whatever else. And you're an alpha dog. Alpha dog! Right? What do? Motherfucker, whap! Right? Or you grab them and you do your little hop keto shit and fucking break something. Yeah, you're an alpha dog, right? You protected your principal like a man does. Right? Then the principal's like, oh, thank you so much, right? Because you're an alpha dog. And what you want as an alpha dog is people to be impressed with your alphaness. And the principal's like, oh my God, right? Like that person's on the ground, all bloody, yeah, fuck you. And the principal's like, oh, you protected me, thank you so much. And you're like, man, right? Well, then you go home and you get all the pats in the back and everybody knows that you're the alpha dog. And then about 3 weeks later, your principal, there's a knock on the door, your principal opens it up, and they get handed a summons to court because they're being sued for $2 million. Why? Because you were over enthusiastic with your protection, and now the person you just beat the snot out of is now suing your principal. Did you protect your principal? If your principal ends up in court, regardless of how that court case goes, because of your actions, did you protect your principal? No, motherfucker, no, you didn't. Right? And so that's one of the things we got trained is you keep it nice, you keep it tight, nobody knows what happens. Right? You come in, hi, how are you doing? You grab the point that you need to grab. You just add just enough pain that they understand you can break it, and then basically you push them back and you push your principal that way. Boo! Hi, I can hurt you bad. You go that way, principal goes that way. You get done at the end of the day, the principal's like, wow, damn, that day was boring. Yeah, man, some days I wonder why I even pay you the amount of money I pay you. I mean, it's just day after day. I mean, all you're doing is following me around. I mean, it's like I'm just paying you, I don't know, to walk. And you're like, sir, yeah, I understand how that can be frustrated, but, if anything ever happens, you want me to be there, right? That is not an alpha dog. Nobody is impressed by their strength. Nobody is patting their back and saying, oh, thank golly. But you also know what's happening there is when that event occurred, by the time the night comes, the principal is not going to get sued. Nobody even remembers that it happened, right? And that is your job as a protection specialist. Your job as a protection specialist is that everything goes so smoothly, people wonder why you're even getting paid. Which, to be clear, it gets a bit of a it's a bit of a frustrating point of, no, seriously, you do need to get paid. But anyways, right? But that's one of the things that, again, I want you to be thinking about as a real technology professional. Again, as you think about things like cybersecurity and the rest of it, areas are red teams and blue teams and penetration testing and all this horse crap. But again, think about inside your company. Again, these technological solutions. What can you implement in your company to prevent your company from getting sued? Again, what is an actual risk to your company? Might not be sexy, might not be cool, right? But it's an actual risk. And so one of the things to be thinking about, right, is again, when you have communication systems, how do you do things like manage your communication systems in such a way that the company is most likely not going to get sued over the things that get said or run into all kinds of weird problems? Again, you think about things like risk mitigation strategies. Right now, we have the Trump administration. I have a couple of feelings about the Trump administration. But as the old white guy once told me, Eli, I'm not telling you it's a good system. Oh, fuck, I'm not telling you this is a good system, but it is the system that we have. I'm not telling you this is a good administration. Oh, hell no! This is a garbage administration. Might be the worst administration we have literally ever had in this country's history. But it is a vindictive, nasty, right, administration. And so, if you have a technology company like Microsoft or Amazon, right, any company that might touch the federal government in any way, shape, or form, what is an actual risk to your company? What is a multi-billion-dollar risk to your company? Is it the Chinese hackers? Is it the North Korean hackers? Is it the Zimbabwean ninja hackers? Or is it employees in your company saying really stupid shit on the company time? And so that's one of the things to kind of be considering here. And basically what they've done in Microsoft is apparently seems that they put a keyword filter in to prevent people from talking about Gaza and Palestine and genocide in their emails. And now Microsoft employees are losing their minds because they have a culture. They have a culture where putting genocide in a company email ever makes half an ounce of sense. I can tell you right now, when I was in the corporate world, if they had a keyword filter for genocide, I would have never known. Why? Why in God's name would it have ever come up in an email? So anyways, Microsoft employees say emails with Gaza, Palestine, or genocide won't send. No. Microsoft employees are concerned. They're concerned that the company has been blocking Outlook emails containing the words Palestine, Gaza, genocide, apartheid, and IOF off Azure, even if they're including those terms in an HR complaint, according to screenshots, recordings, and documents viewed by CNBC. Employees said they started noticing the change Wednesday just before noon PST, batch testing emails with the terms in question and emails without them. Only the ones without such terms appeared in their outboxes, suggesting those containing the terms weren't received according to materials viewed by CNBC. One employee with the word, and again, I love this, fuck me. This is just awesome. This is just awesome. One word. With one employee with the word apartheid in their, wait for it, email signature. This is how idiotic Microsoft's company culture is at this point in time. They have apartheid in their email signature. Why? Why do you have apartheid in your email signature? When does that ever make sense? Anyways, apparently that makes sense to technology employees that were hired in a 1% interest rate environment. Anyways, apartheid in their email signature, who spoke on condition of anonymity for fear of retaliation, said they sent a typical work-related email around 1:30 PST on Wednesday successfully. The person said that just before noon the same day, their emails wouldn't go through, ostensibly due to their email signature. Yeah. I'm sorry, am I supposed to take this seriously? I'm so sorry. Jesus. On internal message boards, messages seen by CNBC showed employees asking why their emails with the word Israel may go through, but not the word Palestine, as well as Gaza and other terms. Modifications like P4 Palestine, basically Palestine with a 4 in it, did go through according to their tests, so they're basically just using keyword filters. One employee asked on an internal message board, quote, "Is the company abandoning the inclusivity initiative, or is this only targeting Palestinians and their allies?" You're on the company dime for Microsoft. What does Microsoft do? Well, they do Azure, and they do a really shitty desktop operating system, and they're doing AI, and they're doing other things. What does this have to do with Gaza? In a message seen by CNBC, Frank Shaw, Microsoft's chief communication officer, responded to an employee post writing, quote, "To clarify, emails are not being blocked or censored unless they are being sent to a large number of random distribution groups. There can be a small delay, and the team is working to make that as short as possible." Quote, "Over the past couple of days, a number of emails have been sent to tens of thousands of employees across the company, and we have taken measures to try and reduce those emails to those that have not opted in," a Microsoft spokesperson said in a statement. So they're talking about Palestine and Gaza and apartheid and sending these emails to thousands and thousands of people. I have a question. How's that? How do you have an email? How do you have an email system at one of the largest technology companies in the world, where people apparently can pretty randomly just email tens of thousands of their fellow employees? I see the problem. Anyways, but employees told CNBC that even when they attempted to send relatively mundane, solely work-related emails to small groups of colleagues, the emails still didn't go through if they contain those terms. Solely work-related emails. Where does Palestine and Gaza and apartheid come up for solely work emails? Another employee spoke on condition of anonymity, said that when they attempted to send a report to HR containing one of the terms in question, they did not receive the auto response, typically confirming receipt, until more than 24 hours later. The message also didn't show up in the online HR portal until more than 24 hours later. That is something that you do need to consider, again, when you're thinking about the security policies, right? So, again, what happens if something happens to a woman? What happens if a woman gets raped in the office? Now, here's the thing. I never want my employees talking about rape. No, don't do it. Don't care. Did you see Game of Thrones? Fuck you. Get back to your job. Anyways, but here's the thing. What happens if something happens to a woman or to a guy? Gotta say a guy. But what happens if something happens to a woman? And so they contact HR to say, I got raped by the CEO. But what if you have a keyword filter that blocks that word? So they're literally not able to communicate with HR. That is one of the things you do have to think about. And again, this is where we talk about with workflows. Again, in the technology world, I'm being a real technology professional, right? There is the technology, there is the product, and then there is the implementation of the product. You've got to make sure you implement the product properly. That basically the keyword filters do not block things going to HR. If people say inappropriate things to folks in HR people know how the fuck to deal with it. But those keyword filters should get blocked other places. And again, that can actually be a real concern, right? If you have a policy where if somebody does something wrong, you need to communicate to HR about it, and then somebody does try to communicate to HR about it, but then there is no response. Again, that is another time when your company could get sued. Something happened to an employee, they tried to communicate with HR, the company did not resolve the issue. Why didn't they resolve the issue? Because the issue got blocked in the system, right? That is a vulnerability and something you need to consider. Let's see here. Some emails were delivered after being delayed by 7 hours or more, according to the group. This is just beautiful. No Azure for apartheid. So Microsoft has an internal group called No Azure for Apartheid. Oh, I can't make this shit up. Really? You're the smartest minds of our generation. You're the masters of the universe. Y'all think this is wise. Anyways, the group suggested manual reviews of such emails were taking place before they were delivered. Anyways, Microsoft protests. Microsoft has seen a growing number of protests at recent events over Israel's military's use of the company's AI products. Protesters have also sent emails to the company's executives outlining their concerns. At Microsoft's Build Developer Conference in Seattle this week, protesters interrupted executives during keynote speeches and sessions. On Tuesday, protesters interrupted the Microsoft Build session on best AI security practices, singling out Sarah Bird, Microsoft's head of responsible AI, who was co-hosting the session with Microsoft AI security chief, blah, blah. Hebe was formerly a member of the Israeli Defense Force, according to the Tumblr page viewed by CNBC. Quote, Sarah Bird, you are whitewashing the crimes of Microsoft in Palestine. Hassam Nasser, an organizer with the group No Azure for Apartheid, said Nasser was one of the Microsoft employees terminated last year after planning a vigil for Palestinians killed in Gaza. Earlier on Tuesday, during another Microsoft Build session, an unnamed Palestinian tech worker disrupted a speech by Jay Park, Microsoft's head of Core AI. Quote, Jay, you are complicit in the genocide in Gaza, the tech worker who did not wish to share their name for fear of retaliation said. My people are suffering because of you. How dare you talk about AI when my people are suffering? Cut ties with Israel. The worker then called to free Palestine and said, quote, no Azure for Apartheid, a nod to the group and its petition. On Monday, Microsoft software engineer Joe Lopez interrupted CEO Nadella's keynote speech on stage saying, Satya, how about you show them how Microsoft is killing Palestinians? How about you show them how Israeli war crimes are powered by Azure? Lopez was later fired. Yay. According to a document viewed by CNBC that stated the reason as misconduct resulting in the violation of both company policy and our expectations of a respectful workplace. So yeah, this is the modern world of being a technology professional. Oh, you thought it was all going to be about Chinese and North Korean hackers. You thought it was going to be about quality of service and packets and that kind of shit. Oh no, it's about keyword filters. About keyword filters in your email. The big thing that I would say with all of this is, again, when you think about security, when you think about cybersecurity, and you think about protecting your organization, right, you need to be thinking about it as layers, right? And the idea is if any one layer is compromised, the other layers should be strong enough that your overall system doesn't fail. Again, the whole argument of you should be able to put the global administrator username and password on a billboard somewhere, and your systems are fine because there's no VPN access, right? Even if you have a global, user administrator account, full access to it, if they can't actually connect to your core systems, to any systems where that account would matter, then it's not usable, right? And that's where you design your architecture, when you design these systems. Again, usernames and passwords, policies for user accounts and for group accounts, firewalls, VPNs, multi-layer networks. All this horse crap comes together so that even if one layer is compromised, the other layers hold strong. One of the things I would argue with this is that, again, when you think about security, right, there's more to security than, again, usernames and passwords and VPNs and that kind of stuff. Again, we talk about this in the actual security world, right? There's physical security. So physical security is locks, fences, gates. Again, when you think about the digital world of physical security, that's usernames, passwords, firewalls, that type of thing. And there's operational security. And OPSEC basically means that people don't understand how your systems work, right? If somebody knows that your infrastructure runs on Windows, Microsoft, then they have an idea of a vector to attack your systems. If they have no idea how your systems operate, it becomes more difficult to attack your systems, right? So operational security is, basically the idea of you don't let people understand how your systems work. One of the things I would also argue with this, again, is the whole idea of we go back to things like company culture and who you're hiring at your company. The idea with company culture, right? The base concept there is that as a boss, as an executive, as a founder, you cannot micromanage everybody, right? You just can't. Even when you hear about Elon Musk, right? Elon Musk, right? He tries to micromanage stuff for like a month or two. He comes in, he micromanages the shit out of people, and then he goes off and does something else for a while, right? Because the fact of the matter is, you just can't, especially in a technology company, you can't micromanage everybody. It's just impossible. And so the idea is you want to hire people, and you want people in your organization that more or less see the world the same way you do. Again, this isn't necessarily the color of the skin or the sex or whatever else. It's basically, it's the idea that when they come in, they know that their job is to bring value to the company, right? If all of your employees know that they continue to receive paychecks because their contribution to the company allows the company to be profitable, it makes your life a lot easier, right? So if you tell them to do something, again, everybody's on the same footing. I talk about this like with factory works. Again, we talk about company culture. If you have a factory, right? So a factory, you have specific shifts. People come in, they do pretty stupid work for those shifts. But the big thing is that they come in when the shift starts and they leave when the shift ends. Right? So the company culture of a factory is that punctuality is the mark of a man. A real man is 5 minutes early to be 5 minutes early. Right? Because that's what you need in the company, right? You could have Einstein walk through the door, but it doesn't matter if they keep being 10 minutes late, they're going to screw everything up. Right? Again, but you have other people, right? And that's the thing, is they believe I punch the clock at this time, I punch out at that time, that is why I get paid, right? That is the company culture. Again, if you're in the technology world, most of the time, I really don't give a fuck when you clock in or when you clock out. But when we told the customer the product ships on this day, the product needs to fucking ship on that day. Right? And so it's a company culture where things like punctuality don't matter. One day I might work 2 hours, the next day I might work 20 hours. The only thing that matters is the product ships, right? Here's the thing. If everybody is on the same page, then your organization, it's gonna function well enough. Well enough. But the problem you run into is what happens when half of your employees think all that matters is clocking in punctuality, and half of your employees only thinks that shipping the product is the important thing, and then you have some other screwballs all running around, and then you have just a complete mess. Because, right, the mark of a man is somebody who shows up 5 minutes early to be 5 minutes early. And this person over here is the mark of the man, is the person. It doesn't matter when you show up as long as you complete the job. And these people both know what a real man is. A real man, real alpha dog. Well, then you have two fucking alpha dogs that just don't see the world the same way. And then they start pissing on everybody. And they start pissing on themselves for some reason. And it all goes down. Right? You got a lot of pee and you got a lot of shit. And start asking yourself, why are you an entrepreneur again? Why did this seem like a good idea? Oh, it all goes to hell, right? And so that's the thing, right? Company culture is an absolute for your organization. And that's one of the things, again, I've been talking about this for years. We have just seen the destruction of the big tech corporate cultures as they hired whoever had an ass to go into a seat. You now have all of these people with all of these different fucking viewpoints in these environments where there's a shit ton of money floating around. And then you get, again, people who literally, it's not a joke, put apartheid into their signature, their auto signatures, which is going to be a crap show. So for you, this is why creating a company culture is so vital. And this is why it's really important that you understand both what your company culture actually is, what it actually is, and then what you think your company culture actually should be. And again, that whole thing of, are you living up to the company culture? It's one of the things I talk about is, you shouldn't be you. Again, it's funny, all the diverse people in the world are like, I want to be me. And all the white guys in the world are like, I want to be the me that you're going to pay. I always love that. When like diverse people Tell me that. And they'll say that to my face. Well, Eli, some of us don't want to be just corporate clones like white guys do. I know white guys just want to be corporate clones, but some of us want to show our who we really are in the corporate world. And you're like, oh, so you think every white guy just wants to be a corporate clone, and this is how our mamas crapped us out of our vaginas, right? Their vaginas. They just pulled white boys out of the plastic packaging, and we're all just basically identical. That's what you think we're like. It's funny. It's funny how racism works. But the thing is, right, the idea there is that again, as a white guy, what I was taught is nobody gives a fuck about you. Nobody gives two shits about you. Nobody cares if you live. Nobody cares if you die. Nobody really cares if you're successful. If you're successful and they care, they're only going to care because they're going to be jealous of you. And frankly, if you're half starving to death, they're only going to care because they can point at you and be like, ha ha, because they're doing better than you. That's the reality. Why are white guys ticky-tacky little clones? Because you show up to work, you do what the corporation needs you to do, you get your paycheck, you go home. You think your corporation is fucking genocidal? You stop working for a fucking genocidal corporation. If you believe so strongly that your corporation is making the world a worse place, then you, by golly, take that pay cut and go work for the Red Cross or create an organization that'll get people fed or whatever else. But anyways, no, people in the modern world, they want to get their six-figure salaries and then scream at their bosses and have apartheid and their auto signatures. So anyways, yeah, if I am no longer a real technology professional, I can accept that. I'll be like, oh, okay. So this is what real technology professionals have to deal with nowadays. Yeah, no, I don't want to deal with that anymore. Call me funny. Again, I'm a not boomer. It's like, oh, quantum computers, annealing. Let me understand more about the annealing process. That's really cool. Oh, look at that AI. Let me understand more about the reasoning models. Yeah, I don't really want to have to like figure out keyword filters for apartheid. Anywho. So what do you think about this? What do you think about Microsoft employees complaining because they can't put this horse crap into their business emails? What do you think about them crying because they can't send out these emails to tens of thousands of fellow employees? What do you think about the fact that they apparently think they should be able to? Like that they're actually complaining about this because they know they're not able to. And what do you think about that whole disaster? Eli, you don't understand. No, Lord, I do not understand the modern technology world. So anyways, put your thoughts down below. This video is coming out whenever the hell this video is coming out. I will most likely be in Web Summit Vancouver. So Web Summit, great tech conference. For media, for most people, I don't know, good enough. I don't always care. I think it's good. I'm going to it. Whether or not it's good for you, who knows? If you're going to Web Summit, I will be there. I'm doing a lot of interviews and other things while I'm there. So if you want to say hello, please say hello. If I seem a little phased, it's just because I'm dealing with humans for 4 days. And, yeah. Fuck, give me a server any day of the week. Anyways, I'm going to be dealing with humans for 4 days. So if you see me and I'm a little out of it, don't take personal offense. That's just whatever. That's just me being tired. And I'm going to go through. We're going to post those interviews and such. So do make sure to look for them. And I will see you all later.